Welcome to Mystery Theater, the show where we provide comprehensive case overviews in a bite-sized, digestible format, in an attempt to help solve missing persons cases and bring closure to loved ones. Tonight we take a look at Lars Mittank, the German national who was left behind during a vacation to Bulgaria due to an injury he received from a fight, and never returned to join his friends as planned. Was his erratic behavior in the days before proof Lars had taken drugs? Or were his injuries from the fight much worse than doctors thought, causing a brain injury? We'll attempt to answer these questions and more on tonight's Mystery Theater, Lars Mittank. Things were looking great for 28-year-old German national Lars Mittank on June 30th of 2014, as he arrived at the seaside resort of Golden Sands, Bulgaria on vacation with his friends. A little time away from his job at the Wilhelmshaven power station where he worked in the small coastal town of northwest Germany was just what he needed. And by all indications, he and his friends had a great time at the popular party resort, the Viva Club, an all-inclusive hotel providing both food and drinks within its pricing. That was at least until July 6th, the day before the group was set to fly home, when a night out at the local bar, the Rock Bar, ended in an altercation between Lars's group and a local group over a soccer game. The Germans were a fan of the club Werder Bremen, and the locals of Club Bayern Munich. While there was no violence inside the bar, Lars would go missing shortly afterwards while waiting for his friends to purchase food at a local McDonald's, and would resurface at their hotel the next morning, injured and with his first of many unusual stories over the next couple days. Suffering an injured jaw and ruptured eardrum, Lars told his friends that he was beat up not by the opposing group from the bar, but by a different group of locals or Russians that were sent after him by that group, having been hired to beat him up. He was not convincing to his friends, however, who did not believe his story but decided to just let it go. But something surely did happen in the hours between when Lars disappeared at the McDonald's to when he returned at the hotel, because he had gone to the hospital and was prescribed 500 milligram antibiotic cefuroxime due to his injuries. Reports differ on whether or not the doctor advised Lars not to fly, but either way he did make the decision not to go back on the group's scheduled July 7th flight, insisting he would take a later flight back and declining all his friends' offers to stay with him until he was fit to fly. So his friends left on their scheduled flight and Lars stayed behind, filling his prescription from local doctor Boris Najdenow at a local pharmacy, and he began walking around the local area of Varna looking for a hotel. He eventually settled on Hotel Color, a low-budget but well-reviewed establishment which charges $25 per night. Lars went to bed and prepared for his first day alone in a strange, unfamiliar country. But things would get real weird real fast for Lars Mittank. Was it due to brain trauma, drug use, or something else entirely? No one is sure, but at 10 minutes to midnight, Lars's erratic behavior began when he called his mother back home in Germany and asked her to call his bank and freeze his credit card. 3 hours later, at 3 a.m., he called her again and told her in a low whisper that he was hiding from a group of men who had been following him and were after his pills. This would have been extremely unlikely, as Lars's medicine was not a narcotic, but rather a simple antibiotic prescribed to prevent ear infection. Cameras at Hotel Color show Lars acting erratically, and staff claims he left in the middle of the night. He texted his mom asking what CFC 500 was. This was the abbreviation for his prescribed antibiotics. He shared his cab he had waved down to the airport with another party who described him as having mydriasis, aka extremely dilated pupils. While this is typically associated with drug use, it can also be caused by trauma, though it has to be severe. Once arriving at the airport, he called his mother, who booked him a flight home and advised him to see the airport doctor to be safe and make sure he was okay to fly. Lars took his mother's advice and visited the airport doctor, who described him as being emotionally drained and depleted. While she was examining him, an airport employee dressed as a construction worker walked in and momentarily distracted her, asking her about doing some work on her office. This caused Lars to mumble something to himself, and then he jumped up, sprinting out of the office and through the airport lobby, leaving his things behind. The images and video recorded of Lars running out of the lobby and through the parking lot are the last known footage of him. He was last seen by witnesses scaling a barbed wire fence lining the lot and jumping to the field on the other side, running off into the distance. Lars Mittank would never be seen again. So was Lars a victim of such head trauma that explains his sporadic behavior? Or did he get involved in something he didn't want his friends to know about in his hours alone, such as the purchase and use of illicit drugs? Was he imagining the men following him and assuming they were after his antibiotics because of his confusion? Or had he purchased drugs earlier and that's what these men were after? The major question is Lars still alive? Did he pass due to the confusion breaking him mentally and leaving him to starve alone in the woods somewhere? Or was he truly being chased? The fact that construction workers set him off and nobody was chasing him in the footage suggests it maybe was made up or Lars was confused. Many believe he may still be wandering somewhere till this day, dazed and confused. But as of today, there are no known sightings of Lars Mittank since he ran from that airport on July 8, 2014. I'm Jason Hebert, and this has been Mystery Theater, Lars Mittank. I'll see you next time.